What's up? I am Michelle B. We have a slightly different background today. We're working with the sunlight. And in this video, I am going to go through my top 3 lessons learnt from Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins as part of Book Club for Babes. If you don't know what Book Club for Babes is, it is a book club where a bunch of beautiful humans have gathered together to read a book related to self-growth, productivity, self-love, goal setting, all that type of stuff for 12 months. So we're all reading the same book each month and we're chatting about it in the Facebook group, which is linked in the description down below. So in this video, I'm going to go through an overview of the top 3 ideas that I got from Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. We started off with a cheesy classic. I'm going to talk about a few of the learnings from our Facebook group and I'm going to announce the next book if you're not joined to the Facebook group. So the first idea, which is so prominent throughout this entire gigantic book, is the pain versus pleasure principle. The big idea is that we are all driven by pain and pleasure. So you might not go to parties because you associate massive pain with parties. Like you associate awkwardness, humiliation, rejection with parties. So a lot of pain. So an example that Tony Robbins uses in the book, he didn't want his kids doing drugs, understandable. So he actually had his friend who worked for Salvation Army to take them through a building that was filled with like heroin addicts, a building that smelled like urine. He said there were like babies crying, child prostitutes. And while his kids may have matter-of-factly known that drugs are bad, he actually wanted to create like neuro associations linking drugs to pain in their minds. Because for the most part, facts, figures, drugs are bad, it doesn't do the job. It's how you feel about a behavior that drives you to either do it or to not do it. So it's how you feel about exercising that drives you to do it or not do it. How you feel about eating well. So changing what the behavior might mean to you. So he talks a lot about associating like serious pain with the idea of say smoking or of not exercising or of eating poorly. So I've chucked a few questions that can induce you to think about the painful aspects of maybe a habit that you currently do or something that you don't do. I've also linked an exercise sheet which was shared in the Facebook group with all of the exercises that are actually featured within the book if you're interested. So the particular habit I was thinking about when I was reading this book was exercise. I need to do more of it and I need to do it more consistently. So since starting this book, now whenever I think of not exercising, I'm associating that behavior with Alzheimer's, which is something that I have a serious fear of getting. It runs in my family. I picture myself like not being able to walk as an old lady because I didn't move my body when I was younger. And I've exercised more consistently within the last month than I probably have within the whole year. Keep in mind that's like a 1 month snapshot, but I think definitely this exercise is worth doing if you have a habit that you want to pursue that maybe you've been struggling with, and really like honing in on those pain factors. Like everyone has individual things that are more painful to them. So for exercise, for example, your thing might not be Alzheimer's. One day you might not be able to play sports with your friends or something along those lines. Idea number 2 is asking better questions. When you pay attention to your self-talk, a lot of it is just you evaluating the situation through asking questions. It's not really a radical idea. The suggestion is just to get into the habit of asking yourself better questions that are going to get better answers. So maybe previously your questions might have been, why does nobody like me? A really unhelpful question. Or what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? So the new questions that he proposes you start asking yourself in those situations are like, what can I do to change my state so that I am happier? And of course, at first your brain might be like, no, like absolutely nothing. Nothing's gonna change here. But if you keep at it, eventually you should get answers. So I've been trying to sort of use all the bits and pieces of the book because that is the whole point of Book Club for Babes. And I was in a meeting, I was in a crappy state, like I just did not want to be there. The main questions that I was asking myself is like, why do I feel like this? Like, why can't I just be chill in this moment? Really useless, unhelpful questions. So I was like, all right, let's do this. What can I do to get myself into a better state? And I actually sat there and I came up with ideas. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this meeting, I'm gonna have a banana because I get serious hunger if I'm lacking food. I'll go for a walk for a bit. I'm gonna chuck my headphones on and sort of drown people out for a little bit so I can just have a little introvert time. It can just lead to you making little changes which can make you feel better and generally just improve life. And the third idea that I was really into from this book was a chapter about handling your emotions. So it sort of gives you a step-by-step way to handle different different emotions. So first step is to identify and categorize your emotion. I have read before that by labeling an emotion, you can actually draw away some of the power of that emotion. So reflect on how you're feeling. Are you feeling rejected because your friends didn't invite you to that thing? Or are you feeling disappointed or confused? The next step is acknowledging the emotion. Appreciate the fact that your emotions are there for a reason and they play an important part of your life. The third step is to get curious about the message that the emotion is giving you. So what can you learn from this emotion? What is this emotion telling you that you need to do? What's the call to action? So if you're feeling rejected by your friends, do you need to go out and make new friends who invite you to stuff? Or do you need to make more of an effort with your friends? And the last step is to get confident. So think on how you've dealt with certain emotions in the past and then rehearse how you're going to handle it in the future. So the suggestion is that you should actually visualize yourself handling the emotion that you're having right now and the steps that you're going to take to sort of make that emotion not go away but just improve your state. And of course, take action. So if there's something that you've identified that you need to do, you're feeling rejected, okay, you need to go out and make new friends, then take some sort of action to actually move forward. In the book, there's actually a whole bunch of examples of emotions and how you can deal with them or what the underlying meaning might be or the call to action. So for example, frustration could be telling you that you need to brainstorm a new approach and a new way of thinking because obviously something isn't working. Disappointment might be telling you to change your expectations and set a new goal. Sometimes it's really hard to handle emotions. I know I really struggle to handle emotions and I already almost have a checklist for just when I'm feeling generally crappy and low. So I've made a video before what to do when you're feeling crappy or something like that. That's basically my checklist. Like I know exactly what I need to do if I'm feeling low and blah. You could do that with a whole range of emotions, like not just slugness, anger, frustration, disappointment, whatever the other emotions are that you know you need to handle. I haven't had the chance to actually use that idea in my day-to-day life yet, but I just liked it so much that I was like, I have to talk about that in the video. So those are my 3 big learnings from this very big book. A few of my feelings about the book as a whole. It was an insensitive book, which was acknowledged a few times in the Facebook group. So particularly in reference to things like mental illness, abuse victims, there was fat shaming in the book. It's stuff that you would expect to see in a book written in 1991. There was also a lot of fluff. I found myself really like wading through it to get out the action points and the really valuable bits in the book. Also, it's huge. I found that some of the concepts within the book, I'm almost positive there are entire books dedicated to like the one individual concept. So it's just a huge mishmash with a lot of stuff in it. So I decided that at the end of this video, I want to feature some of your ideas on Awaken the Giant Within because let's be real, you guys have some freaking awesome thoughts that you're putting in that group and they need to be featured. And there were so many great thoughts and comments, so don't think that this is a lot of it. If you want to see all of it, join the group and have a scroll through. So Kristen Bernot did a short summary of the book and her learnings. So one of the ideas that stuck with her is the way to make better decisions is to make more of them. She's more of a planner thinker than an implementer, and I feel like everyone has times when they are like that. And the book inspired her to make some more decisions and send one of her staff members to a work conference. Another member of the Facebook group finally started a YouTube channel because of that chapter as well, so it was mentioned a few times. I think a lot of people in the Facebook group found value in the making more decisions and making real decisions section of the book, because there are a lot of decisions that you sort of might make in your head sort of half-heartedly, like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. But the book talks a lot about the distinction between real decisions and half-hearted decisions and making more real decisions and sticking with them. Tina HB made a post about the book. So one was that motivation requires daily reloading, and I am so about this. And one of the quotes that she pulled out of the book was, in fact, many people attempt to change with a sense of fear and dread because unconsciously they believe that the changes will only be temporary. So we must develop a sense of certainty that we can and we will meet the standards before we actually do. So those were some of the little gems that I really liked in the Facebook group. I want to say again how much I appreciate you guys. So this has been a bit of a rambly video, but I hope you guys have stuck with me. To announce the next book, it is actually going to be a completely different vibe. So we are going with Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. The book was decided from a vote in the Facebook group, but one thing I do want to mention, I had so many comments on the last video saying, what about a Goodreads group? At the moment, I can't manage a Goodreads group as well as a Facebook group. It's all a lot, but if one of you guys want to start a Goodreads group, absolutely go for it. So I am extremely excited to see what the next month brings, what the learnings are from The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. I am pumped, I am ready. I appreciate you guys so very much, and I will see you soon.